The Daughters of Providence of Paris were members of a Catholic religious congregation for women in 17th-century France. The Daughters had their origins in the Seminary of Providence, founded in 1643, with the authorization of King Louis XIII, by a pious widow, Marie Pauline de Lumig. It was intended to provide a shelter to girls who were in situations of peril to their faith. This could be through either poverty or personal circumstances. The name of the house was selected as they looked to divine providence to supply their needs. Among the girls who were given shelter in the seminary, those who were capable of providing instruction to the other charges were organized to do that. Among this number were 7 whom the foundress felt showed signs of having a religious calling. The Archbishop of Paris, Jean-François Paul de Gondi, authorized them to form the religious community, under a rule of life drawn up by Saint Vincent de Paul. Their formation was to be a novitiate lasting 2 years, after which the daughters would profess annual vows of obedience, chastity, service and stability. In 1651 the Queen Regent, then of Austria, gave the community their first home, the former rest home in the Faubourg Saint-Michel, now Odeon. After this, Archbishop Gondi established several similar communities around the city. Foundations were also made in Metz and Sedan. They remained under the authority of the Archbishop, who would appoint the Superior General of the congregation, while the local superiors were elected triennially. In 1681 several houses of the congregation merged with the Sisters of the newly founded Congregation of the Holy Infant Jesus, founded by Father Nicholas Barry, O.M., dedicated to the education of the poor. The remaining houses soon merged with the Canonices Regular of the Congregation of Notre Dame, founded by Saint Peter Fourier, CRSA, dedicated to a similar goal. At that point this congregation ceased to exist. Unleashed is an album by Los Angeles hip-hop group LA Symphony. It is their last album before going on hiatus. The 1971 Buenos Aires 1,000 km was the opening round of the 1971 International Championship for mixed season. It took place at the Buenos Aires Circuit No. 15, Argentina, on January 10, 1971. Grand Tourer class cars did not participate in this event. Scuderia Ferrari driver Ignazio Giunti was killed during this race. His car ran into the back of the disabled matter of Jean-Pierre Beltoise, catching both cars on fire. Giunti was unable to escape. Alexandra Pomails, born July 4, United States, is an American actress, and TV host. She is known internationally for participating in various telenovelas of Telemundo and Nickelodeon Latin America. In 2014, she participated in the ABC TV series Killer Women as a series regular and was host of her own show called Turn Heidi On back in 2013. She is of Puerto Rican descent. Ruby Horse were a rock band from Cork, Ireland. Their debut album, A Lifetime in One Day, was released in Ireland on June 2, 1995. In 1997 the band moved to Boston, Massachusetts, and all of their subsequent albums were released in the United States. The 2018 Michigan State Spartans men's soccer team represented Michigan State University during the 2018 NCAA Division I men's soccer season. The program was coached by 10th-year head coach Payman Rensing. It was the 63rd season the university fielded the men's varsity soccer team, and their 28th season in the Big Ten Conference. The season was highlighted by Michigan State reaching the College Cup Final Four of the NCAA Division I men's soccer tournament, a feat they had not accomplished since 1968. There, making their first appearance in half a century, they lost to eventual national runners-up Akron, 5-1. 3 players from this team were drafted in the 2019 Milliliters Super Draft: June Jones, Ryan C. Arakowski, and Jimmy Hague. Christian Daniel Bravo Reyna, born October 1, 1993, is a Chilean footballer who plays for Uruguayan side Montevideo Wanderers as a winger. The 1923 Fall Charity Shield was the 10th staging of the Fall Charity Shield, an annual association football match arranged to raise funds for charitable causes supported by the Football Association, the FA, the governing body of football in England. Following a series of matches between club teams, the format of the competition changed in 1923 to a game between select teams of amateur and professional players. The competition used this format for the next 4 seasons. The match also saw the competition move from a dates in May, as had previously been used, to October. £730 was raised for charities. The match was played on October 8, 1923 at Stamford Bridge, London, and ended as a 2-0 win for the professionals. While the first half saw both teams competing, the superior fitness of the professionals paid off in the second half. Both goals came after half-time, scored by Bradford and Chambers. The following is a list of winners of the National Film Award Silver Lotus Award for Best Male Playback Singer. The award was first granted to Mahendra Kapoor in the year 1967. The singer with the most awards in this category is KJ Yesudas with 8 wins for 3 different languages: Malayalam, Telugu and Hindi, followed by SP Balasubramaniam, who won 6 times for 4 different languages: Hindi, Kannada, Tamil and Telugu. Shankar Mahadevan and Udit Narayan followed next, winning 3 awards each. The Singer's Man of Day: Hemanta Kumar Mukhopadhyay, M.G. Sri Kumar, Hariharan have bagged this award twice. Wittmannhofen Air Base. Fliegerhorst Wittmannhofen in Germany is a military air base in Germany. It is home to the Tactical Wing 71 JG-71 for short. Fighter Wing 71 in English of the German Air Force Luftwaffe. Since May 1974, the F-4F Phantom II was operated from the base. German F-4F Phantoms at the base were retired on June 29, 2013. During 2013, JG-71 transitioned to the new 20-plus Eurofighter Typhoon. JG-71 was renamed TLWG-71 Taktisches Luftwaffengesquadron or Tactical Air Wing at some point prior to the end of 2014. Prior to May 1974, JG-71 operated the F-104G Starfighter. Up to the mid-late 1980s, JG-71 as well as each Luftwaffe wing operated a handful, usually 4 of Do-28D. The base currently stores all former F-4F Phantoms of the German Air Force. The 1929 World Snooker Championship was a snooker tournament held between December 17, 1928 and March 7, 1929 at various venues in England, with the final beginning on March 4, 1929. Joe Davis won his third world title by defeating Tom Dennis 19-14 in the final. Dead frames were played. The score when Davis won the match was 17-12. The highest break of the tournament was 61 made by Davis in the final. Crib may refer to the following people. Crib surname. Common in South Africa. Alice Crib, born 1954, actress best known for her role in the Star Trek series as the Borg Queen. Danny G. Crib, born 1919, South African mining engineer who pioneered the field of geostatistics. Corn Crib, born 1975, South African rugby union footballer. Use Crib, 1910-1987, South African writer, poet, playwright, translator, rugby player, war correspondent and romantic. The 2016-17 season was Middlesbrough's 15th season in the Premier League, their first since relegation in the 2008-2009 season, after gaining promotion the previous season in their 141st year in existence. Along with the Premier League, the club will also compete in the FA Cup and EFL Cup. The season covers a period from July 1, 2016 to June 30, 2017. Middlesbrough's long-awaited return to the top flight proved to be disastrous, as the team struggled to score goals all season, despite boasting a strong defensive record compared to other teams in the bottom half of the table. Their total of 27 goals scored throughout the season was the lowest in the Premier League, leading to manager Peter Karanka's dismissal in March. Caretaker manager Steve Agnew could not improve the team's fortunes as they were mathematically relegated back to the Championship on May 8, 2017 following their 3-0 away defeat to Chelsea, who would go on to become champions. Alone for the First Time is the second solo studio album by Canadian record producer Ryan Hemsworth. It was released on Last Gang Records and Secret Songs on November 4, 2014. Music videos were created for Snow in Newark to Long Here and Surrounded. The album was nominated for the 2015 Juno Award for Electronic Album of the Year. The new seventh-story hotel was a demolished budget hotel once located on Ross Road in the downtown core of Singapore. Mothercare plc is a British retailer which specializes in products for expectant mothers and in general merchandise for children up to 8 years old. It is listed on the London Stock Exchange and is a constituent of the FTSE Small Cap Index. The Griffiths, Jane Halloran, and John DeVries. Korakadoran is a village in the district of Yenapazar, Aden Province, Turkey. As of 2010 it had a population of 679 people. The peppermint angelfish Centropage boyle is a relatively small angelfish growing up to 7 cm in length. It inhabits tropical reefs and has been recorded at depths between 53 and 120 meters. The peppermint angelfish is found in the eastern Central Pacific around the Cook Islands and Rarotonga. It is a shy species hiding amongst rocks and rubble of reef cliffs. Sea boyle is occasionally exported as an aquarium specimen and can fetch high prices. A single specimen was offered to be bought for $30,000. Carthage in ancient Greek. He was a town of the ancient Crete, or of Misheard mentioned by Thucydides. Its territory was called Harpagoetia or Harpagoetia. It lay between Priapus and Cyzicus, near the mouth of the river Granicus. It was in the Harpagoea whence Ganymede is said to have been carried off. It belonged to the Delian League since it appears in tribute records of Athens between the years 448 7 and 429 8 BCE. Thucydides writes that 3 days after the Battle of Cynossema, the Athenians captured 8 ships coming from Byzantium at Harpagon and Priapus. Its site is located in Asiatic Turkey. Shiramenizaropus is an ichnogenus of dinosaur footprint. Microlinguistics is a branch of linguistics that concerns itself with the study of language systems in the abstract, without regard to the meaning or notional content of linguistic expressions. In microlinguistics, language is reduced to the abstract mental elements of syntax and phonology. It contrasts with macrolinguistics, which includes meanings, and especially with sociolinguistics, which studies how language and meaning function within human social systems. The term microlinguistics was first used in print by George Eltridger, in an article published in 1949 in Studies in Linguistics, Occasional Papers. University Teaching Department Ground is a multi-purpose stadium in Salgar, Madhya Pradesh. The ground is mainly used for organizing matches of football, cricket and other sports. The stadium has hosted the Ranji Trophy match in 1982 when Madhya Pradesh cricket team played against Rajasthan cricket team. But since then the stadium has hosted non-first-class matches. The Wine of St. Martin's Day is the largest painting by Peter Bruegel the Elder. It is currently held in the Museo del Prado, Madrid, where it was identified as a Bruegel original in 2010. Like much of Bruegel's work, it depicts peasant life, in this case the festival known as St. Martin's Day, which involves drinking the first wine of the season. The Women's Marathon was held on October 23, 2016. 11 teams participated over the distance of 30 kilometers 120 laps with sprints every 10 laps awarding 5, 3, 2 or 1 point to the first 4 double in the final sprint. 20 points are also awarded/withdrawn for each lap gained/lost respectively. Tanya Warren, born 1965, is an American basketball coach who is currently the head women's basketball coach at the University of Northern Iowa. Head election in Republic of Korea were held on September 10, 2017 in Korea. Stanko Bilinski, April 22, 1909 in Nazis, April 6, 1998 in Zagreb, was a Croatian mathematician and academician. He was a professor at the University of Zagreb and a fellow of the Croatian Academy of Sciences and Arts. In 1960 he discovered a rhombic dodecahedron of the second kind, the Bilinski dodecahedron. Like the standard rhombic dodecahedron, this convex polyhedron has 12 congruent rhombus sides, but they are differently shaped and arranged. Bilinski's discovery corrected a 75-year-old omission in Evgraf Fedor's classification of convex polyhedra with congruent rhombic faces. F-130 may refer to Farman F.130, the 1920s French bomber's Rolls-Royce F-130, a high-bypass turbofan engine. Sir Martin Kelso Wallace, May 3, 1898, February 12, 1978, was a Unionist politician in Northern Ireland. Wallace attended Methodist College, Belfast, and served in the RNBR during the First World War. He worked as a company director and was elected as an Ulster Unionist Party member of the Belfast Corporation. He was elected as Lord Mayor of Belfast in 1961 and served for 2 years. He became a Knight Bachelor in 1963. His mayoralty made him an ex officio member of the Senate of Northern Ireland. The 1977–1978 FIRA Trophy was the 18th edition of a European Rugby Union Championship for national teams. The tournament was won by France, with a Grand Slam. Romania finished in second place, while Spain had a surprising third place, defeating Italy 10–3 in Madrid, to repeat the same place of the previous tournament. Italy had a very disappointing performance, finishing in fifth place, below Poland, who also beat them 12–6. Holybrook is a tributary of the River Dart in Devon, England. It rises on the eastern flank of the 495 metres (1,624 feet) high hill of Snowdon-on-Dartmoor, at grid reference SX 678,687. It was once a much longer stream, but its headwaters were long ago captured by the River Martle, and the physical evidence of this stream capture is clear when viewed from higher up the side of Snowdon. Its course is generally eastwards, and for the first 3/4 of its length it flows roughly parallel to the River Martle, only about 700 metres, about half a mile north of that river. As Holybrook comes off the moors, it flows through Gibbicombe Wood and then through Michelcombe, a steep-sided valley or combe which is just to the south of the hamlet of Michelcombe. It then passes between the villages of Scorton to the south and Holdney, and as it approaches the River Dart it flows through a wooded valley that forms the southern boundary of Hambury Woods, below Hambury Castle. Here it is crossed by the road from Buckfastleigh to Holdney at Hambury Bridge, which has a single arch and a parapet topped by flat stones that are joined together by iron clamps. From this bridge to its confluence with the River Dart near the grounds of Buckfastleigh at grid reference SX 741,677, Holybrook forms the boundary between the Teagon Bridge and South Hams districts. The first known documentary reference to the stream appears in the 13th century cartulary of Buckfastleigh, in which it is called Nordbrook and Northbrook. Northbrook probably because of its course just to the north of the River Martle. A report on folklore published by the Devonshire Association in 1976 states that the name Holybrook is not an ancient one, though it notes that two fields named Paternoster lie on its course. It has been proved, the report says, that its water is slightly radioactive and, according to the Holdney branch of the Women's Institute, it was still believed in 1976 to have curative powers. Strained muscles, bruises and rheumatism could all be alleviated by wading in its waters. Paul Andrew Collins, October 31, 1907, September 25, 1988, was an American football end in the National Football League for the Boston Braves/Redskins. He played college football at Trinity College. Year 952 CMLII was a leap year starting on Thursday. Link will display the full calendar of the Julian calendar. Jean Eugene Dolgoff, born 1950, is the founder, CEO, and CTO of HOLODEAM Technologies Incorporated, which is developing new technologies for diagnosing diseases using advanced medical imaging and for improving treatment. The main technologies being developed, which are patent pending, are holographic energy teleportation head advanced nanoparticles, and a new type of MRI diagnostic imaging system. At the City College of the City University of New York, he majored in physics, mathematics, and electrical engineering, and minored in physiological psychology, as well as teaching the course which he authored in optics, lasers, and holography for 3 years. He also studied computer science, geometry, and astronomy at Columbia University in New York. Dolgoff's mother was a Lithuanian refugee and was held at Stupov, Dachau, and Auschwitz Nazi concentration camps during WWII. After the war and her emigration to the U.S., she tried to recover funds her father said to have deposited at Swiss and other banks. She was unsuccessful, so her son Eugene continued the inquiries after her death. Dolgoff was an early developer of digital projection and started experimenting and thinking about LCD projectors in 1968. He founded Projectivision Incorporated, the world's first dedicated digital projection company, in 1988, listed on NASDAQ in 1990. With funding from DARPA, he worked on the development of the U.S. HD-TV system. He has published several papers in 3D imaging, optics, holography, the brain, and LCD video projection, and has more than 65 patents granted worldwide with others pending. In 2018, Dolgoff filed a patent application for holographic energy teleportation and became CEO of HoloBeam Technologies Incorporated. Magan Persian, also romanized as Magan, is a village in Pain Valaya Rural District, in the Central District of Kashmir County, Razavi Khorasan Province, Iran. At the 2006 census, its population was 1,978, in 544 families. Tommy Smith is a playwright. Juan Carlos Olivas was a Mexican actor known for playing Hector Luis Palmas Salazar in the 2017 Netflix and Univision series El Chapo. The 2017-18 season was Zabahan Football Club's 17th season in the Iran Pro League, and their 22nd consecutive season in the top division of Iranian football. They also competed in the Hazfi Cup and AFC Champions League, and had their 47th year in existence as a football club. The British Purchasing Commission was a United Kingdom organisation of the Second World War, also known at some time as the Anglo-French Purchasing Board, that was based in New York City, where it arranged the production and purchase of armaments from North American manufacturers. After the 1940 French surrender, it became the British Purchasing Commission. The Commission was also responsible for taking over orders that had originally been placed by France, Belgium, and later by Norway, after the capitulation of those countries. The board was able to arrange purchases in spite of the Neutrality Acts via cash and carry, paying for the material with Britain's gold reserves. The board had been established before the war, buying aircraft such as the Lockheed Super Electrum. Facing an aeroplane shortage during the early stages of World War II, in January 1940, the British government established the British Direct Purchase Commission to purchase U.S. planes that would help supplement domestic plane production. By December 1940, British cash orders for aircraft had exceeded $1,200 million, with deliveries of 350 per month, and were expected to reach 500 per month by early in 1941. The aircraft were supplied unarmed. The requests by the board to U.S. manufacturers stimulated production and design, including the development and production of what would become the North American Mustang, which was designed for the Commission. Upon entry into Royal Air Force RAF or other Commonwealth Service, an Air Ministry service name was applied. Thus the Consolidated 2825 became the Consolidated Cataline. Aircraft purchased by the Commission first had to be moved across the border into Canada, due to the U.S. neutrality laws, it being illegal to transport war materials direct from U.S. ports. Sailing from Halifax, Nova Scotia, smaller aircraft within sufficient range to make the journey across the Atlantic were delivered to the UK by ship as cargo, with the aircraft knocked down into component sections and crated. Upon arrival in the UK, crated aircraft were transported to RAF where they were assembled and test-flown. Larger aircraft were ferried directly across the Atlantic from RCAF Gander to RAF Prestwick, first by the Atlantic Ferry Organization at Thurrow and subsequently by RAF Ferry Command. After the establishment of Lend-Lease, aircraft and other weapons could be supplied direct to the UK. Studenoblowka, pronounced Studenoblowkats, is a small village west of Nova Vas in the municipality of Blok in the Inner Carniola region of Slovenia. Acarocline saturatoides, also known as maçla or marchella in Portuguese and Spanish, Eloiodiaceae in the Guarani language, and Carfreixd in Rio Grande do Sul, where it is part of German-Brazilian folklore. It is used as the medicinal plant symbol of Rio Grande do Sul state in Brazil. This plant is widely used in various countries which share the Guarani cultural heritage, such as Paraguay, Uruguay, and northern Argentina. Species extract, which contains isoramnettin, luteolin, and quercetin, is used to fight herpes. A trickling filter is a type of wastewater treatment system. It consists of a fixed bed of rocks, coke, gravel, slag, polyurethane foam, sphagnum peat moss, ceramic, or plastic media over which sewage or other wastewater flows downward and causes a layer of microbial slime biofilm to grow, covering the bed of media. Aerobic conditions are maintained by splashing, diffusion, and either by forced air flowing through the bed or natural convection of air if the filtered medium is porous. The terms trickle filter, trickling biofilter, biofilter, biological filter and biological trickling filter are often used to refer to a trickling filter. These systems have also been described as roughing filters, intermittent filters, packed media bed filters, alternative septic systems, percolating filters, attached growth processes, and fixed film processes. Carl Oswald Victor Edgler, January 5, 1842, February 7, 1925, was a German chemist, academic and politician. He wrote a handbook of industrial chemistry in 1872. He is remembered for his early work in indigo. Eddie Livington Segura Martinez, born February 2, 1997, is an Colombian professional footballer who plays as a defender for Los Angeles FC on loan from Atletico Huila. The Central Bank of Venezuela, Spanish, Banco Central de Venezuela, BCV, is the central bank of Venezuela. It maintains a fixed exchange rate for the Venezuelan bolivar and since 1996 is the governing agent of the clearinghouse system, including an automated clearinghouse. Acacia vestida, with common names weeping boreal, weeping acacia, and hairy wattle, is a shrub and small tree native to New South Wales, Australia. Czesław Miarowski (1888–1967) was a Polish philosopher, jurist and sociologist. Girls may refer to Bear Grylls, born 1974, television presenter and adventurer Brandon Grylls, born 1973, Australian politician David Grylls, born 1957, American track cyclist Sir Michael Grylls, 1934–2001, British politician Tony Grylls, British documentary filmmaker Rosalie Glynn Grylls, 1905–1988, British biographer, lecturer and politician Don Grylls, born 1943, British artist and educationalist. Bicton College is a college with around 1,000 full-time and 3,500 part-time pupils, located near Budleigh Salterton, Devon, England. The college specializes in agriculture and currently offers courses in such topics as animal care, countryside management, horticulture, veterinary nursing, and agricultural engineering, arboriculture and floristry. The college's courses range from Level 1 all the way to foundation degrees. For the Level 4 courses, the college works in partnership with the University of Plymouth. The college was founded under the name Beaton Farm Institute in 1947, when the Devon County Council leased Beaton House and part of the Beaton Park estate from Lord Clinton. The name was changed in 1967 to Beaton College of Agriculture and in 2002 to Beaton College. For the years 2007 to 2008, Beaton College was recognized as a center of excellence in teacher training for its training of teachers in the post-compulsory post-16 sector. Glockocari's fairy is a moth in the family Crambidae. It was described by David E. Gaskin in 1985. It is found on Fiji. Riley Bronchield Kelgard, born January 22, 1986, is a Canadian baseball player who is currently a free agent. Kelgard was born in Edmonton, Alberta. He attended college at Indian Hills Community College in Ottawa. Valadrolha English. I Promise is a Hindi film, released on September 11, 2009. It stars Bobby Deol in the lead role and Kankana Ranaut and Atul Agnihotri in special appearances. It is directed by Samir Kartnik. Some part of the film was shot in Ephesus, Turkey. Jerkstad Church Norwegian. Jerkstad Kirke is a parish church in Austerøy municipality in Hordaland County, Norway. It is located in the village of Jerkstad. The church is part of the Austerøy parish in the Arna-og-Zandinri in the Diocese of Behortven. The white, wooden church was built in 1870 by the builder O. L. Vangberg. The church is the third church to stand on this site. The first church existed during the Middle Ages and it was a state church. It was probably built about the year 1210. There are some items from this church that are preserved at the Bergen Museum, such as a soapstone baptismal font. That church was in poor condition by the 1600s decade and so it was taken down and a timber church was built in 1622. That was followed by the present church in 1870. Hilton Cabral de Almeida, born July 8, 1942, is a Brazilian former footballer. Spygate is a 2006 Canadian adventure comedy film directed by Robert Vince and starring Chris Potter. It was released to Canadian theaters on February 24, 2006, and on DVD in North America on April 11, 2006. Länsiherrtani Finnish Västerherrtorna Swedish is a southeastern neighborhood of Helsinki, Finland. Thomas A. Ferguson, born 1950, was an official in the United States Department of the Treasury who was director of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing from 1998 to 2005. Ferguson was born in Trenton, New Jersey in 1950. He was educated at Lafayette College, receiving a B.A. in economics. He later completed an MPA from the University of Southern California. Ferguson joined the Bureau of Engraving and Printing in 1974 as a quality assurance specialist. In 1988, he became head of the Office of Advanced Counterfeit Deterrence. He was later Deputy Assistant Director of Operations and Assistant Director of Research and Technology, in which capacity he chaired the New Currency Design Task Force. In 1998, Ferguson became director of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. He held this office until 2005. Since retiring from government service, Ferguson has run the consulting business based out of Howard County, Maryland. The 2012 Missouri Tigers football team represented the University of Missouri in the 2012 NCAA Division I FBS football season. The team was coached for the 12th season by Garrett Pinkle and played their home games at Ford Field in Columbia, Missouri for the 87th consecutive season. In their first season as a member of the Eastern Division of the Southeastern Conference, Missouri finished fifth with a record of 2-6 in the conference, and 5-7 overall. As a result, the Tigers failed to qualify for a bowl game for the first time since the 2004 season. The Thi type is a sub-district in the Wat Bob district of Phitsanulok Province, Thailand. Nalamadal is a village in Dharwad district of Karnataka, India. Chetamoctena is a genus of moths in the family Geometridae. The FAD 500 is a Russian Air Force low-drag, general-purpose, airdrop bomb with a 500 kg high-explosive warhead. The first models of the bomb appeared in the early 1960s in the Soviet Union. The bomb is unguided, features a single nose fuse, and is compatible with most models of Soviet aircraft. The FAD 500 has been used most recently over Syria by both Russian and Syrian warplanes. Flat Rock Camp is an Adirondack Great Camp in Willsboro, New York. It is located on Willsboro Point, on Lake Champlain. Brighton and Hove operates most bus services in the city of Brighton and Hove in southern England. It is a subsidiary of the Go Ahead Group. The Pension Belgium was a prison and private clinic during the French Revolution. Around 1765, the joiner Jacques Belgium took on the construction of a building for the son of a neighbor, an aristocrat who had been mad since birth. Seeing that running an asylum was more lucrative than joinery, he opened an asylum for lunatics, old people and whoever else rich families wanted to entrust to him. The famous precursor of psychiatry, Philippe Final, carried out his first treatments of the insane here. Once the French Revolution had begun, Jacques Belhomme thought that his fortune was assured. Remote from the violent center of Paris, he had noticeable advantages. In September 1793 the deputies encouraged the sans-culottes to imprison all suspect individuals, nobles, their wives and children, foreigners, priests, lawyers, the actors of the Comédie Française, rich people in general, in short, all those who had not made clear their allegiance to the Republic. With the prisons of Paris already overflowing, the state requisitioned Belhomme's asylum and then all other private clinics. Belhomme entreated the 12 police chiefs in charge of Paris to send him rich prisoners who would pay high fees to live in his asylum as comfortably as possible. From then on marquises, bankers, journalists, famous actors, old nobles and army officers, along with other disgraced persons who bribed the doctors and police chiefs to be transferred on the pretext of illness, lived cheek by jowl with the med. Belhomme rented the neighboring building, the Hotel de Chabanais, to which he linked his own building by a charming garden after the young Marquis de Chabanais, the descendant of Colbert, had emigrated with his mother and had his possessions confiscated by the state. Belhomme ended up buying the house to invest the money he had made. It was in this setting that there occurred the romance between Jacques Marie Rousset, the deputy to the National Convention, and Louise Marie Adelaide de Bourbon, widow of the Duc d'Orléans and mother of the future King Louis Philippe. They married in secret after leaving prison. The scandal of the pension Belhomme finally erupted in January 1794. Belhomme was arrested for supplying wine to the inmates and was imprisoned in another pension, at Coignard, where the Marquis de Saudoc was also held. He was found guilty twice and, like the majority of the former inmates of his clinic, escaped the guillotine only because the terror ended on 9 Thermidor. Some of the former inmates did not escape, however, proving too well known to pass unnoticed. They included Beatrice de Choiseul-Stainville, Duchess de Gramont, sister of Louis XV's famous minister, the Duchess of Le Châtelet, daughter-in-law of a famous mistress of Voltaire, the fair Major General Magon de la Balloon, guillotined with his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, brothers and cousins, and the lawyer Simon Nicolas Henri Linguet, despite his denunciation of the monarchy, for which he had spent a year in the Bastille under the Ancien Regime. The Hotel de Chabanais was raised in 1953, as was the Maison Belhomme in 1973. Babesaretus promptus is a species of ground beetle in the subfamily Pterostachini. It was described by Dugin in 1828. Gahukan Pashto, also spelled Gajukan or Gajokan, was a Pashtun revolutionary leader. He is often seen as a founding chief of the Yusufzai tribe. His tomb is in Swabi, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Scarlet is the second release and first full-length album of indie rock group Spook the Horse, released on February 18, 2009. Spook the Horse was selected as one of a handful of local Seattle bands featured in the 2007 release, Volume 5 of DVD music performance series Burn to Shine, and features the song Another New Year, also found on the Scarlet release. XIV quadrangular Cunot de Fútbol Mexicano Badnot, or simply known as Copa Pachuca, is the 14th edition of the Copa Pachuca. The riff-raff element was a 1990s British television series written by Debbie Orsfield and directed by Jeremy Hancock for BBC One. The series was nominated for the British Academy Television Award for Best Drama Series in 1994. Teresa Lawford, born May 4, 1930, is a British fencer. She competed in the women's team foil event at the 1964 Summer Olympics. Quebec Glassmont, August 12, 1897. March 13, 1938 was an American screenwriter from Poland, who was nominated for the now-defunct category of Best Story at the 4th Academy Awards. He was nominated for Best Story with John Bright for The Public Enemy. Mandigalai is a small village in Ratnagiri district, Maharashtra state in western India. The 2011 census of India recorded a total of 1,191 residents in the village. Mandigalai's geographical area is 517 hectares, 1,280 acres. Group Habitat is an international chain of stores of British origin created by Sir Terence Conran in 1964, which specializes in the sale of furniture and contemporary decorative accessories. Since September 2011 it has been owned by the French group CAFOM Distribution. The Bonito River. The river is a river of Parana state in southern Brazil. Who Do You Love is the fifth studio album by the funk and disco group Casey and the Sunshine Band. The album was produced by Harry Wayne Casey and Richard Finch and was released in August 1978 on the TK label. Christian Romulo Ojeda, born January 22, 1999, is an Argentine professional footballer who plays as a midfielder for Portland Timbers 2, on loan from Talleres. The Boyfriend is a 1971 British-American musical comedy film directed by Ken Russell and starring Twiggy, Christopher Gable, Tommy Tune, and Max Adrian, with an uncredited appearance by Glenda Jackson. It is an adaptation of the musical The Boyfriend by Sandy Wilson. It was released on DVD on April 12, 2011. Oak Flat is a controversial area of land that is held as sacred by Native Americans from the San Carlos Apache Indian Reservation. Oak Flat has been subject to attempts by the federal government to sell it to mining interests, against the wishes of the tribe. Gutna Monastery, also spelled Gutnor, was a small Benedictine monastery in Nürnberg am Rhein, in the district Breisgau-Hochschwarzwald in Baden-Württemberg in southern Germany. Tinopsis is a genus of moths in the subfamily Arcturidae. It contains the single species Tinopsis saturatus, which is found on Ambon Island. Best Latin pronunciation: Wsta is the Virgin Goddess of the hearth, home, and family in Roman religion. She was rarely depicted in human form, and was often represented by the fire of her temple in the Forum Romanum. Entry to her temple was permitted only to her priestesses, the Vestals, who tended the sacred fire at the hearth in her temple. As she was considered a guardian of the Roman people, her festival, the Versalia 7–15 June, was regarded as one of the most important Roman holidays. During the Versalia, matrons walked barefoot through the city to the sanctuary of the goddess, where they presented offerings of food. Such was Vesta's importance to Roman religion that hers was one of the last republican pagan cults still active following the rise of Christianity until it was forcibly disbanded by the Christian Emperor Theodosius I in AD 391. The myths depicting Vesta and her priestesses were few, and were limited to tales of miraculous impregnation by a phallus appearing in the flames of the hearth, the manifestation of the goddess. Vesta was among the deiconsaints, 12 of the most honored gods in the Roman pantheon. She was the daughter of Saturn and Ops, and sister of Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto, Juno, and Ceres. Her closest Greek equivalent is Hestia. The Nergis shrew Crocigera ramona, also known as the Ramones shrew Hebrew, Adapharama, is a species of mammal in the family Saurasidae. So far, it is only known from Israel. It is found in 3 regions: Mizraim and Sedbakur in the Negev Desert, and Sartabra on the northern edge of the Judean Desert. It is likely that the species occurs more widely in the region than currently known, i.e., in Jordan, where similar habitats and Crocigera species have not been well surveyed. The 3 locations in which the species occur are rocky desert areas at altitudes between 200 and 950 meters above sea level. The Nergis shrew is light gray with a slightly lighter underpart. It is also relatively small. Only 7 specimens have been collected. The Nerja's shrew is likely to be more widespread in the region than currently known, and there are no known threats at present. More data on range population densities and trends, and potential threats would be useful for a future reassessment, but it is currently assessed as least concern. Of the 6 known localities, this species has been found in 5 protected areas. The Nerja's shrew is found either in or near to dry river beds with tritium and tamarix vegetation or near to dry river beds with dense triplex vegetation. During surveys, no other Crossigerod species were found to be co-occurring with C. remoto. The only other shrew which it was found together with was Suncus etruscus. From 1999 to 2006 no specimens have been found. This is likely to be due to poor precipitation, leading perhaps to lower populations and or making the species more difficult to capture as it enters deeper soil layers. It is a naturally rare habitat specialist. OK Supreme was a British motorcycle manufacturer from 1899 to 1939 located in Birmingham. Grass track racing versions of the machines continued to be available until 1946. Cowboys and Angels is a song written and performed by George Michael and released on Epic Records in 1991. Among other things, the song is notable for being written in waltz time. It became the first single released by Michael to miss the top 40 of the UK singles chart, peaking at number 45 on release in March 1991. The song's lowly sales figures were not a surprise, as it was the fifth single to be released from the Listen Without Prejudice Volume 1 album. The album was released in the UK on September 3, 1990 and in the US on September 11, 1990. Each single had finished lower than its predecessor, and Cowboys and Angels continued the pattern, although the other four had all reached the threshold of the top 40. Cowboys and Angels was also Michael's longest single to date, at 7 minutes 14 seconds. The saxophone solo is by Andy Hamilton. In a 2014 BBC One-hour documentary based on Michael's 2012 performance at the Philharmonia during his Symphonica tour, Michael revealed the song was about a short-lived love triangle where he was in love with a man while a female friend was in love with him, but none knew of the other's feelings. The People's Republic of China (PRC) sent a delegation to the Olympic Games for the first time at the 1952 Summer Olympics in Helsinki, Finland. Prior to the foundation of the PRC in 1949, athletes from mainland China competed for the Republic of China ROC at the Olympic Games from its debut in 1924 to 1948. After the Chinese Civil War, 19 of the 25 members of the Chinese Olympic Committee (COC) withdrew to the island of Taiwan in 1951, and the COC was reorganized in Beijing. Both committees wrote to the International Olympic Committee (IOC) requesting that they participate in the upcoming Games in Helsinki. The IOC passed a motion that authorizes the athletes of both countries, in agreement with the organizing committee of the Helsinki Games, to take part in the events of the present Olympiad. Just one day prior to the opening of the Games, the COC received the invitation from the organizing committee. Despite the lack of jet air transportation to fly the team from Beijing to Helsinki in time for the opening ceremonies, the COC decided to send its delegation anyway. The Chinese athletes arrived at the Athletes' Village on July 29 and raised the flag of the People's Republic of China for the first time in Olympic history. The Chinese delegation, including athletes and officials, consisted of 38 men and 2 women, including the men's football team, the men's basketball team, and the lone swimmer Wu Chuanyu. Only Wu Chuanyu arrived in time to take part in the official competition, while the football team played 2 friendly matches. The Chinese stayed 10 days in Helsinki and participated in the closing ceremony. The Republic of China's team withdrew from the Games on July 17 in response to the IOC's decision to allow both PRC and ROC athletes to compete. This marked the beginning of the two China's conflict in the Olympics, which resulted in the PRC Olympic Committee's withdrawal from the IOC in August 1958. The issue was resolved in November 1979, and the People's Republic of China participated in the 1980 Winter Olympics, their first appearance since the 1952 Games. Regent Hill Minor Planet Designation 574 Regent Hill is a minor planet orbiting the Sun that was discovered by German astronomer Max Wolf on September 19, 1905. Photometric observations of this asteroid at the Organ Mesa Observatory in Las Cruces, New Mexico during 2010 gave a light curve with a period of 14.339 ± 0.001 hours and a brightness variation of 0.17 ± 0.02 in magnitude. The light curve shows 3 uneven minimums and maximums per rotation cycle. Na Band Nabrati Urdu is a 2018 Pakistani romantic comedy film directed by Mahmood Akhtar, written by Harish Kumar Patel and produced by Zashko Entertainment. The film stars Miqal Zulfikar, newcomer Shayan Khan, Niab Khan, Kamal Faruqi, Charlie Kazmi, Kavi Khan, Azhar Modiuddin, Atiq Ayagho and others. It was released by Hum Films on the Eid al-Fitr, June 16, 2018. Dr. Woodrow Whitlow, Jr. is the Associate Administrator for Mission Support at NASA. He was appointed to this position by NASA Administrator Charles Bolden on February 3, 2010. Prior to this, he was director of the NASA Glenn Research Center in Cleveland, Ohio. Whitlow earned Bachelor of Science 1974, Master of Science 1975 and Doctor of Philosophy 1979 degrees in Aeronautics and Astronautics from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and began his professional career in 1979 as a research scientist at the NASA Langley Research Center, Hampton, VA, before moving on to positions at NASA Lewis now Glenn Research Center and NASA Kennedy Space Center, where he was deputy director before returning to NASA Glenn to serve as director. He has received numerous awards, including U.S. Black Engineer of the Year in Government, NASA Exceptional Service Honor Medal, NASA Equal Opportunity Honor Medal, the British Institution of Mechanical Engineers William Sweet Smith Prize and the Presidential rank of Meritorious Executive. The American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics named him an Associate Fellow in 1993 and a Fellow in 2010. The City of Hawkesbury is a local government area of New South Wales, Australia, part of which is at the fringe of the Sydney metropolitan area, about 50 kilometres 31 miles northwest of the Sydney Central Business District. Hawkesbury City is named after the Hawkesbury River. The mayor of the City of Hawkesbury is Cr. Barry Calvert, a member of the Australian Labor Party, and the first Labor mayor of the City of Hawkesbury. Hamfeld is a municipality in the district of Lauenburg, in Schleswig-Holstein, Germany. The liaison squadron of 1st Air Command Serbo-Croatian, Eskadrila Zjevazu 1, Valsduha Plutni Komanda /1, was an aviation squadron of Yugoslav Air Force formed in 1952 at Pančevo Airfield as liaison squadron of 1st Military District Serbo-Croatian, Eskadrila Zjevazu 1, Rani Oblasti /1. Squadron was formed by order from December 17, 1951 on February 1, 1952 as part of 1st Military District. It was equipped with various training and liaison aircraft. Squadron was transformed into liaison squadron of 1st Air Command by 1959. It was disbanded after 1959. Estimated 1961. Srpska Persian, also romanized as Srpska, is a village in Mosul Rural District, in the Central District of Mosul County, Gilan Province, Iran. At the 2006 census, its population was 306, in 78 families. ISO 27001 Lead Implementer is a professional certification for professionals specializing in information security management systems (ISMS) based on the ISO/IEC 27001 standard. This professional certification is intended for information security professionals wanting to understand the steps required to implement the ISO 27001 standard as opposed to the ISO 27001 Lead Auditor certification, which is intended for an auditor wanting to audit and certify a system to the ISO 27001 standard. This certification is provided by numerous organizations. Some are currently not certified by any personnel certification body, while others are certified by accredited certification bodies. Certified ISO 27001 implementation courses should be accredited to the ISO/IEC 17024 standard. San Geronimo is a district in Moravia Canton, Costa Rica. Object Logo is a variant of the programming language Logo with object-oriented programming extensions and lexical scoping. Version 2.7 is sold by Digitool, Incorporated. It is no longer being developed or supported, and does not run on versions of the Mac operating system after version 7.5. John Brotherton, born August 21, 1980, is an American actor. He is most known for playing Jared Banks on the ABC soap opera One Life to Live. He currently stars as Matt Harmon on Netflix's Fuller House. Brucia is a genus of beetles in the tribe Thalapinae. Professor Edmund T. Rolls is a psychologist and neuroscientist. Elaber is a genus of sac spiders first described by Octavius Pickard, Cambridge in 1898. The term evolutionary trap has retained several definitions associated with different biological disciplines. Within evolutionary biology, this term has been used sporadically to refer to cases in which an evolved, and presumably adaptive, trait has suddenly become maladaptive, leading to the extinction of the species. Within behavioral and ecological sciences, evolutionary traps occur when rapid environmental change triggers organisms to make maladaptive behavioral decisions. While these traps may take place within any type of behavioral context, e.g. mate selection, navigation, nest site selection, the most empirically and theoretically well understood type of evolutionary trap is the ecological trap, which represents maladaptive habitat selection behavior. Witherington demonstrates an interesting case of a navigational trap. Over evolutionary time, hatchling sea turtles have evolved the tendency to migrate toward the light of the moon upon emerging from their sand nests. However, in the modern world, this has resulted in them tending to orient towards bright beachfront lighting, which is a more intense light source than the moon. As a result, the hatchlings migrate up the beach and away from the ocean, where they exhaust themselves, desiccate and die either as a result of exhaustion, dehydration or predation. Habitat selection is an extremely important process in the lifespan of most organisms. That choice affects nearly all of an individual's subsequent choices, so it may not be particularly surprising the type of evolutionary trap with the best empirical support is the ecological trap. Even so, traps may be relatively difficult to detect, and so the lack of evidence for other types of evolutionary trap may be a result of the paucity of researchers looking for them, coupled with the demanding evidence required to demonstrate their existence. Louis Alphonse Victor, 5th Duke de Broye, called Victor de Broye, October 30, 1846. August 26, 1906, was a French aristocrat. William Desmond, born 1951, is an Irish philosopher who has written on ontology, metaphysics, ethics, and religion. Former president of the Hegel Society of America 1990–1992 and the Metaphysical Society of America 1994–1995. Desmond is professor of philosophy at the Higher Institute of Philosophy at the Catholic University of Leuven in Belgium, and also at Villanova University in Pennsylvania. He is a past president of the American Catholic Philosophical Association. In his trilogy, Being and the Between, Ethics and the Between, and God and the Between, Desmond works out an entirely new and complete metaphysical/ontological philosophical system based on what he calls the potencies of being and the senses of being. His most original contribution in his metaphysics is the notion of the metaxological, which will be explained below. Desmond's program consists mainly in exploring the senses in which modernity has devalued being and what to be and the good might mean. The Secretary of State for Air was a cabinet-level British position. The person holding this position was in charge of the Air Ministry. It was created on January 10, 1919 to manage the Royal Air Force. In 1946, the three posts of Secretary of State for War, First Lord of the Admiralty, and Secretary of State for Air became formally subordinated to that of Minister of Defense, which had itself been created in 1940 for the coordination of defense and security issues. On April 1, 1964, the Air Ministry was incorporated into the newly created United Ministry of Defense, and the position of Secretary of State for Air was abolished. John Harston, born 1920, is an English former professional footballer who played as a full-back. After the extinction of the House of Stenkil and the ascension of Sverker I of Sweden in 1130, a civil war commenced. In the beginning, there were several pretenders, of whom Sverker I emerged as victorious, for a time. The antagonists in long run were finally the House of Sverker in Östergötland and the House of Erik in Västergötland, and Uppland. Saint Erik was killed and buried in the latter province. Others in the dynasty were buried in Arnhem Abbey in the former province, as later also Birger Jarl was the relative to the dynasty which alternated on the throne for several generations, until in the 1220s the Erik dynasty got the upper hand, and the Sverker dynasty became extinct, at least in the male line. As usual in medieval succession rivalries, the final outcome combined the blood of rival lines, as in 1250 Valdemar of the Folkungs, then a minor, his father Birger Jarl acting as a regent, ascended the throne, having inherited the Erik dynasty claim from Valdemar's mother, who was sister of Erik XI of Sweden, the last Erik dynasty, and some of the Sverker dynasty claim from Birger's mother, who was daughter of a younger son of Sverker I. Breisudersalx is a commune in the Meuse department in the Grand Est region in northeastern France. On August 29, 1944, the 3rd Panzergrenadier Division of the German Wehrmacht massacred 86 inhabitants of this and the 3 neighboring villages of Robert Erspan, Couvenges and Modnevel. This is also referred to as the Massacre de la Vallée de la Salx. In Breisudersalx, the deputy mayor Mr. Aimhoff Mr. Paul Thinaz and Mr. Eugene Francis were shot in front of their homes. Charles de Gaulle participated in the memorial service on July 28, 1946. The memorial was inaugurated on August 29, 1949 by General Henry Zeller, commander of the 6th Military Region. Rudolf Stein won August 4, 1906. November 10, 1982 was a German politician KPD, said. Uncompromising in his political stance, he spent many of the 12 Hitler years in prisons or concentration camps. After 1949 he became a junior government minister in the German Democratic Republic. Piazza San Lorenzo is a city square in Florence, Italy. The flag of the Turkic Soviet Socialist Republic was the red Soviet flag with white and green stripes below the gold hammer and sickle, with the measures 1/2 red, 1/5 white, 1/10 green, 1/5 red. The flag sported the Pan-Iranian colors of red, white and green, as a nod to the Republic's Persian-descended culture. The flag was adopted on March 28, 1953 by decree of the Supreme Soviet of the Turkic SSR. The national flag of the Turkic Soviet Socialist Republic is a panel consisting of 4 horizontal colored stripes. The upper band of red, which is half the width of the flag, white stripes, making 1/5 of the width of the flag, green stripes, is 1/10 the width of the flag, and the lower band of red color is 1/5 the width of the flag. On top of the red band at the flagpole located gold hammer and sickle, and above them is an 5-pointed red star framed by a gold border. The ratio of the flag's width to its length is 1:2. The fitting of the hammer and sickle into a square whose side wound 1/4 width of the flag. The sharp end of the sickle falls in the middle of the upper side of the square. Handles the sickle and hammer rest on the bottom corners of the square. Hammer with a handle length is 3/4 of the diagonal of a square. The five-pointed star in a circle fits 1/8 width of the flag relating to the upper side of the square. Distance vertical axis of the star, the hammer and sickle from the grapnel is equal to 1/4 of the flag's width. The distance from the top edge of the flag to the center of the star, 1/10 of the flag's width. The red represents the unity of the Republic and the aspect of workers' revolution. White symbolized cotton production, the basis of Tajik agriculture, and the green was for other agricultural produce. After 1953, the flag received a unique reverse side. The reverse side of the flag was the same as the obverse with the exception of it lacking the yellow hammer and sickle. In 1991, after Tajikistan became an independent country, the reverse side was used as the national flag until a new flag was created and adopted in 1992. Oshawa Truck Assembly was of General Motors Canada truck factory in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. It opened in its original location in downtown Oshawa in 1918 in order to build ambulances for World War I and Chevrolet vehicles before it merged with Graham. The plant later moved to the Graham Autoplex facilities south of the city, and closed in 2009. Graham Autoplex also included Oshawa car assembly and a now closed battery plant. Joe Arroyo, born March 12, 1955, is a Cuban-American politician who served as mayor of Miami. Arroyo was once arrested for domestic violence in 2001 after being accused of hurling the terracotta teapot at his wife. Shoji Gent, born December 11, 1992, is a Japanese footballer who plays as a defender for Toulouse FC in the French Ligue 1. Osiris Rodriguez Castellanos, July 21, 1925, October 10, 1996, was a Uruguayan writer, poet, composer and singer. Calamidopus lumoji is a species of beetle in the family Cerambycidae. It was described by Stefan von Breuning in 1980. It is known from the Philippines. Bonita Rodriguez, born 1941, is a Hispanic-American artist and painter. Her work incorporates Native American ceremonialism, Mexican mysticism and Hispanic folk art, as well as the penitente art of New Mexico, Native American dances and ceremonies, and Catholic traditions. She has a work in the collection of the New Mexico Capitol Art Collection, Etel George Museum in Indianapolis, the Albuquerque Museum of Art, and the Hartwood Museum of Art in Taos. She is also considered to be a specialist in traditional adobe construction and has won awards for her work. Mount Lefroy is a mountain on the Continental Divide, at the border of Alberta and British Columbia in western Canada. The mountain is located on the eastern side of Abbott Pass, which separates Lake Louise in Banff National Park from Lake O'Hara in Yoho National Park. Mount Victoria lies immediately on the western side of the pass. The mountain was named by George M. Dawson in 1894 for Sir John Henry Lefroy (1817–1890), an astronomer who had traveled over 8,800 kilometers (5,470 miles) in Canada's north between 1842 to 40 for making meteorological and magnetic observations. The mountain is the site of the first fatal climbing accident in Canada. In 1896, during a failed summit bid, Philip Stanley Abbott slipped on rocks after just coming off an icy section and plummeted down the rock face to his death. The first successful ascent was made in 1897 by J. Norman Colley, Arthur Michael, H. Dixon, Charles Faith, Peter Sarbush, R. Vangerlip, C. Noyes, Charles Thompson, and H. Parker. A prominent painting by Canadian group of 7 artist Lauren Harris was painted at this site. The Dutch Dakota Association, or DDA Classic Airlines, known by many just as the DDA, is a small foundation dedicated to the preservation and operation of classic aircraft, especially the Douglas DC-3 Dakota. They are located on the east side of Amsterdam Schiphol Airport in the Netherlands. Paul McHale, born September 30, 1981 in Stirling, is a retired Scottish Association footballer and current football agent. Scott Goodson, born September 20, 1963, is founder and chairman of Strawberry Frog, the global cultural movement firm, and the author of the book Uprising: How to Build Your Brand and Change the World by Sparking Cultural Movements. He has worked with leading worldwide brands, including IKEA, Pfizer, Pepsi, Procter & Gamble, Mitsubishi, Smart, and Microsoft. In his book Uprising, he argues that movement marketing is the best and perhaps only way for companies to connect with consumers in the age of social media, and when done effectively, the interaction between companies and consumers can lead to positive social change. Goodson started his advertising career in Stockholm, Sweden, launching Björborg's fashion line, and is of a group of marketers who emerged from the Swedish advertising industry in the late 1980s and 1990s. His peers include other Swedish creative thinkers who have broken out on the world stage. The inventiveness and visual style of this marketing did much to shape the evolution of contemporary advertising. Goodson and his co-founder Karen Drakenberg moved to Amsterdam in the late 1990s to start Strawberry Frog, with the launch of the small-to-seat smart car as their founding client, along with IKEA and Ericsson smartphones, the world leader at the time. We built the agency around an open room principle. From this platform emerged speed, friendship, respect, and all the important things that are needed to make it happen. Our office is housed in a large open space in the penthouse of a building on Madison Avenue, and it allows us to work with a lot of motivation, inspiration, and knowledge because it's all open and everyone is mixed together. Everyone knows and appreciates each other's work, and if anyone is called away of feeling ill, someone can come in and keep the process going, says Scott Goodson, co-founder of Strawberry Frog. Tetratetracopeptide repeat domain 16 TTC16 is an uncharacterized protein that in humans is encoded by the gene TTC16. Another alias for this gene is TPR repeat protein 16, but this is not commonly used. TTC16 is one of many proteins that contain tetratetracopeptide repeat motifs as a supersecondary structure. WHTL-FM 102.3 FM is a radio station licensed to Whitehall, Wisconsin. It plays the classic hits music format. WHTL-FM came to the air in 1981, playing contemporary hit music, and has since had a variety of formats. Currently, WHTL plays hits from the 1960s, 1970s and 1980s. The station covers local high school sports in addition to carrying Green Bay Packers football games. The station broadcasts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with live broadcasting from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. Monday-Friday. WHTL also broadcasts live for high school sports and numerous community events. On-air personalities are Mike Gilbertson, Mark Sweetmoraine, Steve Tudall, and Marty Little. The station is owned by Eugene Bush Halama and the station manager is Barb Sem. WHTL-FM's transmitter is located about 5 miles northeast of Whitehall and is on the highest point in Trempealeau County. WHTL's signal covers much of western Wisconsin including the nearby cities of Arcadia, Black River Falls, Neillsville, Eau Claire, Durand, Buffalo City, La Crosse, and Winona. Requiem is a composition for solo baritone, children's choir, chorus, and orchestra by the American composer Christopher Rouse. The piece was commissioned by Soli Deo Gloria for the 2003 bicentennial of the birth of French composer Hector Berlioz. It was completed July 12, 2002 and premiered March 25, 2007 at the Walt Disney Concert Hall in Los Angeles, with the conductor Grant Gershon leading the Los Angeles Master Chorale and their orchestra, the Los Angeles Children's Chorus, and the baritone Sanford Sylvan. William I. Marquis of Nemours, January 22, 1355, January 10, 1418, inherited the Marquisate of Nemours from his father William I in 1391 and held it until his own death. His mother was Catherine of Savoy 1388, daughter of Louis I of Savoy, Baron of Ord, and Isabella of Chalon. His rule as Marquis of Nemours was a peaceful one, in which he devoted himself to encouraging commerce, industry and the building of fortifications. He did participate in 1408 in the suppression of the revolt by the people of Liege, together with John the Fearless, Duke of Burgundy, William IV, Count of Hainaut and Louis VI, Duke of Bavaria. His first wife was Marie de Bar, daughter of Robert I, Duke of Bar and Marie of Valois 1344–1404. In 1393, he remarried with Jeanne d'Harcourt 1372–1456, daughter of John VI, Count of Harcourt and Catherine of Bourbon. He had no surviving children, and so on his death William I was succeeded as Marquis by his brother John I.